I am deserving of all the good things that come into my life, and I attract abundance effortlessly.
I embrace challenges as opportunities for growth, knowing that I have the strength and resilience to overcome any obstacle.
I radiate positivity and kindness, creating a ripple effect of love and compassion in the world around me.
I trust in the wisdom of my intuition and makes decisions with clarity and confidence.
I am the architect of my destiny, and every step I take leads me closer to fulfilling my dreams and purpose. Welcome to another episode of Affirmation Conversations, where we delve into the transformative power of affirmations in our daily lives. Today, we embark on a journey of self discovery and empowerment as we explore the profound impact of positive affirmations. Joining me are a panel of insightful minds, each bringing their unique perspective on how affirmations shape our thoughts, beliefs, and actions. Together, we'll uncover the science behind affirmations, share personal experiences, and discover practical strategy to harness their potential. So, sit back, open your mind, and let's delve deep into our topic, the power of positive affirmations. With me today is Shamar Purdy. Shamar Purdy is a dedicated soldier with a passion for progress and a commitment to embracing life's challenges as opportunities for growth. As a devoted father and husband, Shamar embodies the values of family and resilience in both his personal and professional life. In addition to his military service, Shamar is the proud owner of Grind Season, a platform that epitomizes the ethos of success through hard work, consistency, and discipline. Through Grind Season, Shamar not only leads by example, but also empowers and inspires others to reach their full potential. With his unwavering dedication to excellence and his innate ability to motivate and encourage those around him, Shamar embodies the spirit of perseverance and determination. Welcome, Shamar.
Good to be here.
After relocating from sunny California to Northern Virginia just over a year ago, Megan Michelle has seamlessly transitioned into the vibrant pulse of the nation's capital. Currently serving as an executive assistant at a boutique law firm, her organizational prowess and attention to detail are instrumental in supporting the firm's daily operations. In her role, Megan is the backbone of efficiency, ensuring smooth communication and coordination among team members, clients, and partners. Whether it's managing schedules, orchestrating meetings, or facilitating important correspondence, Megan is the linchpin that keeps her firm running seamlessly. Welcome, Megan.
Appreciate that. Thanks for having me, Jessica.
You're welcome. Also joining us today is Mike Rodriguez, a seasoned legal professional with over 25 years of experience dedicated to excellence and innovation. A father of 4 children, a devoted husband, and soldier, Mike brings a unique perspective shaped by his multifaceted roles. Currently serving as a fellow at Deloitte, Mike represents the U.S. Army Judge Advocate General's Corps in the prestigious Training with the Industry program. In this role, he collaborates with industry leaders, applying his expertise to tackle complex challenges in legal operations, service delivery, and business intelligence. Committed to continuous growth, Mike has completed numerous academic endeavors. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you, Jess. I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you all. Definitely a really good team. I can feel the positivity just radiating from your screens to mine. So have you. So I'm going to get into the first question. I'm going to ask Shamar to start us off here. So when talking about affirmations, how do you personally define affirmations? And in your life, what role do they play in shaping your thoughts and your mindset?
So for me, affirmations is the belief that you have within yourself. It comes in all shapes and sizes, all walks of life. And the way I personally use it in my everyday life is it's the power of the mind. What I tell myself is what I believe. To a degree, it doesn't really matter what other people might say or think. First and foremost, it matters what I say and what I think. Because before I do something, I got to think about it first. So affirmation is huge. It's a big part of my life. It's been a part of my life before I even knew what an affirmation was. But it is huge in everything we do. Everything.
I love that. Absolutely. You got to believe in yourself and
Yeah.
don't worry about what other people are saying. I love that part of it. How about you, Megan?
I would agree with that. I would say that kind of piggybacking off of what Shamar said, I was thinking about it today. Like, what am I going to say today? Like, what does affirmations mean to me? And I do think that, the way that you think of yourself affects everything. It does affect the world around you. Like, if you look at the world with the perception that, like, I'm not a good person, that's what you're bringing into the world as well. So I think that your mindset is everything. So try to be positive. I mean, obviously there are going to be days that you can't be, but I think just trying to focus on the good for as much as it's worth, I think will always give you just like a better day, better outlook.
I love that. How about you, Mike?
Well, I actually had to think about this, and I said I guess my definition is purpose. What is the purpose of an affirmation? Um, it's to replace negative thoughts and beliefs, and just bring in more positive ones, which for me, it fosters everything about me, my self-development, enhancing my well-being. It just lets me set my day. I mean, literally every morning I say, okay, what am I grateful for? And then what are my goals? And then I'm gonna just hit up an affirmation just to start me. And it's just like fresh breath of fresh air, right? To start my day, and then it gives me a whole
Amazing.
attitude. Like Megan said, like
Yeah.
it sets my day because I don't
I
have
gotta
that.
be, I gotta be more like you, Mike. The first thing I think in the morning is 5 more minutes, but gratitude is good too. Gratitude is good too. Yeah.
Uh,
No, I love that. I mean, absolutely. Affirmation is basically just you individually um, affirming something, whether it's you saying, I can do this, I got this, I can give it another try. But an affirmation doesn't only have to be you affirming within yourself. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more, how other people's affirmations or the way that they affirm things in your life can also have a positive impact. But you all had it perfectly. It's just about speaking positivity and having that positive self talk so that, you can try to negate the negative things that are happening in your life. We can't, not have negative things. Like none of us are that lucky. It's just the way of the
Hmm.
world, is the life that we live. But to as much as you can, try to replace negative thoughts with positive ones, at least your day is going to be significantly better despite that. So I'm going to ask Megan if you can share a personal anecdote or any kind of experience where you've had to use a positive affirmation and it's made a difference in your life or maybe even the lives of others around you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that, the best example I can think of is when I was moving here. It was kind of like, what am I doing? This is crazy. I'm uprooting my entire life and I'm moving across the country for a job. And so I think that there were a lot of emotions that I had to go through and a lot that I had to wrestle with in terms of like, if I was making the right decision and if I trusted that I would be able to be okay on my own. I've always been around family. And so this was like a big move outside of family. And so I think just being able to trust in myself involved a lot of that positivity in just saying, like, I got this, like convincing myself. It's, yes, having that negative conversation of what if all this goes wrong, but then coming back at it with that positivity of like, well, what if it goes right? Why don't you just trust that it's going to go right? And I think that just being able to have that voice to counteract that initial negative reaction, I think is very helpful. It is kind of a battle. And I think it's just, I've gotten to this point where I'm able to have that positive voice just be a little bit louder. And that's, I think, what it comes down to.
I love that. I love how you explained it as just you having a conversation with yourself.
Yeah.
Let the negativity out because it helps you to identify all of your fears.
Hmm.
But then sort of, you know, counter argue those. Why not? Well, some
Right.
people say, why not me? Well, why not you? And then you
Exactly.
just continue to basically talk yourself up, right? You remind yourself that
mhm.
you're that chick, you can do this, you got this, or
Yeah.
whatever it
Yeah.
is.
It's a back and forth discussion, but ultimately the positivity has to win. And so I think, positivity just doesn't, exist on its own. I think it does have to come out of some negative thoughts. That's how I view it, at least, and it's just a matter of who's going to win that argument. So
Well, what about you, Shamar?
Oh man, so this reminds me of when I started when I started the brand. Um, I wanted to do something positive, put something out there in the atmosphere, show my kids what a business can potentially look like for them. And I was at a time where, work was extremely busy. As you know, I serve, it gets extremely tight, extremely busy. My wife serves as well. And there was a time where I was a little bit down about starting the company. And she said to me, she looked me in my eyes, she said, "You got this. When do we start?" That was all the motivation that I needed to kind of propel myself forward and start something new. So, to your point, affirmation is huge. It could just take that one sentence or that one positive thought that can kind of elevate you to new heights. So that was huge for me. I'll never forget that.
That's awesome. And that definitely is, again, another example of how someone else affirming
right.
things for you
Yeah.
can also have like a profound impact on the way that your life's journey goes.
Yeah.
How about you, Mike?
Oh man, I actually was thinking about this last night, and I I put myself out there all the time, right? And just in the conference that I was doing this morning, I had been waking up and saying, okay, I obligated myself at the last minute to support the team at Deloitte, and they asked me to be a part of this panel, and I just said, okay, I could do this. And then I thought about the affirmation this morning, and I was like, you know what? I belong here. I belong here. Where my
Hmm.
feet are, what I'm doing, I'm in the present. Whatever whatever I'm meant to do and be, that's where God put me. So I belong here. And I just took it as that, and that keeps me present. Allows me to be myself and just be in the moment right then and there. And it was great today. My whole day was great. And then even now, right now, I'm meant to be here,
Yeah,
right? I belong here with y'all. And that's what this is all about.
very grounding. Yeah.
I
Yes.
love that.
No, absolutely. Like, a lot of us have, and I talk about this a lot. It comes up basically in almost every affirmation conversation about the concept of imposter syndrome. We normally don't, most of us don't like to toot our own horn or, boast about our accomplishments or our achievements or our talents. But so we feel that we are imposters when we're among other people um, who are typically doing the same thing that we're doing normally. And it's like you're there by the same way that they got there, normally,
Right.
unless maybe
Right.
nepotism or something like that. Maybe they own the company, but it's like, hey, they all more than likely got through that exact same, application process or interview process. I know for TWI, you had to interview. Shamar, the last job that you just had, you had to interview for that to be a first sergeant. Megan, you had to interview for yours, and you went through that process. They looked at, your background, they looked at your resume, I'm sure, and you met the mark. But a lot of us have that imposter syndrome, and that's where those affirmations come into play, where you remind yourself is, I do belong here. I was chosen. I am right for this position. I am worthy of this position. I am capable of doing everything that this position requires. I am capable of making it a better position. So where the person who may fill my
Right.
shoes after me might have to really step up their game. And a lot of us, we don't really think like that sometimes. Um, but that's where affirmations do come into play. So that leads me into my next question is, how do you incorporate affirmations into your daily routine? I know Mike kind of started a little bit, so I'm gonna toss it back to you, Mike, because you talked about how you actually just kind of start off in the morning.
Yeah.
hmm I actually was grabbing this because I figured that was going to be the case. So I have, I mean, there's certain traits, right, when it comes to successful people. And I read a quote where success is not an act, it's an habit, right? Whether it's
Absolutely.
5 habits, 7 habits, whatever your routine is for you to be successful, incorporating an affirmation into your routine just generates that positivity. And you got to be purposeful with it, right? And you got to stick with it. You got to be disciplined with it. And so my discipline is I have a panda planner, and within that, like I write down what I'm doing, my monthly goals, and then I take down, okay, what's my week gonna look like? And then the first thing is three things you're grateful for. And that's where I write my
Love it.
affirmations.
That's awesome.
And that's my routine. It sets my day, it sets my mind, and I'm ready to go. Like, okay, no matter what, this is my day. This is what
I
I'm
love
gonna
that.
do.
A
And
constant
that's how I
reminder.
make it. That's a constant reminder, and it just, like I said, I live my feelings, my emotions on my collar, no matter where I'm at. That's my authentic me. Because sometimes you just got to get naked with it. Um, and this is my process. That's how I keep my success a habit.
Well, we definitely did not mention where you were from when in your introduction, Mr. Panda Planner.
Yeah, I'm hearing something.
So Mike and Shamar are both from New York, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so
Yep.
I think Shamar is from Brooklyn, and Mike, he's from the Bronx. Am I right?
Yeah, I was born in Harlem, and then I moved up to the
Harlem.
Bronx.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
born in
See,
Jersey. I got a lot of family in NY though, so I always got love for NY.
of
Always.
course. Okay. Well, you guys are like, cousins, anyways,
Right.
Jersey and New York, so it's all good.
True.
But you both have like either the demeanor and or the just that dialect. So you're gonna get me one of those panda planners. I can't even do it. I can't even do it like Mike, but I did want to put it out there. Like, yeah, we got New York and Cali, and St. Louis on the line today. So
All
awesome.
over the place, yeah.
hmm
How do you, Shamar, incorporate affirmations into your daily routine?
So I'm real big on. I feel like I have a purpose in this life, and one of those purposes is to do what I can to fill people's cup. Before I do that, I got to fill my own. I've kind of learned that the hard way over the years. So for me, the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, I pray, I stretch,
Yes.
and I'm either moving, running or walking, or picking up something heavy. Um,
Mhm.
I enjoy movement because it helps me set my day.
hmm
After that, I know no matter what happens the rest of the day, I took some time just for me because I need that in order to fulfill my purpose, which is to kind of try to motivate others. So a lot of times it's really early. I got to fight the bed, but it helps me establish that discipline that carries me throughout the day. So
I
I
love
start
that.
really early.
You
That's
guys are
awesome.
both so active in the morning. I can't relate. Like I'm I'm snoozing that alarm.
It
Like
takes practice. It takes practice.
gotta get on that level, yeah.
Megan, you're still in your 20s. It's fine.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
You can afford to wake up 15 minutes before you have to walk
Oh
out
yeah.
of the
Yeah.
house. The rest of us have to, crank our knees a little bit. Like it will take a
Facts.
minute. We can't
Yeah,
just
we got to stretch.
right.
Yeah.
We are not in our soldier boy days where we can, hop out of bed and turn our swag on. Okay, like it takes a while. We gotta hop up out of bed. We gotta stretch. We gotta
Yeah.
tell
Yeah.
Yeah.
some positive affirmations to our
That's right.
body.
That's right.
We gotta go a little bit more work. Okay. So how about you, Megan?
I think it looks a little different for me. I think that my affirmations is definitely very like interrelational. I feel like a lot of it is me giving and taking. Like I will give affirmations to my friends and family when I speak with them. And they'll do the same in kind. And I'll do it for myself, but generally like I feel like it only really comes out when I need it in moments where I do feel that negativity creeping in, where I'm like, you know what? And then I have to remind myself, that I am worthy and I deserve all these things, right? But generally, I feel like on a day to day basis, my routine is more just like giving that to other people. And I feel like that is what makes me feel good and makes me feel positive is by affirming others. So,
No, I love that.
mhm.
That's actually leads into the next question I was going to ask, and I can start with Shamar. It's how do you think that affirmations enhance communication and strengthen relationships? So, I mean, we can even talk about in a marriage or just in a friendship or whatever. How do you think those play into relationships?
When it's genuine, you just feel this type of energy. How many times have
Right.
you walk past somebody, you ask how they're doing, and you don't really care how they're doing. You say good and you keep it moving.
You're like,
When
oh
you're
my God,
really
they actually are
genuine with
telling me.
somebody, yeah,
Yeah.
when you look somebody in the eye, you truly
Hmm.
care about them. You can just kind of feel that energy, and you can feed off of that. So I'm real big on energy, vibes, and aura. So when I'm talking to somebody and I'm asking you a question, I genuinely care how you feel about it. So it starts there, just being open and honest with people.
I love that. How about you, Mike?
Wow. I think for me, it's kind of like how Megan described her ways because I take a very personal approach, even in the office. If I take a time and say, okay, I'm gonna just talk to this person and I'm gonna sit down with them and do it with purpose and approach that interaction with empathy and sheer compassion for that individual and they can feel it so that we have that bond, we have that connection. Um, and it just building that strong emotional connection
Yeah.
with somebody,
Yes.
especially in the workplace and especially in the military. Um, when you make that connection, that individual knows that you mean it, and it could take 5 minutes, it could take 10 minutes, or it could take an hour. Whatever you're willing to give,
Hmm.
believe me, if you're making it that personal, purposeful, it's gonna go a long way for that individual and for yourself.
I would even dare say it's just like a level of vulnerability, like being
Hmm.
like
Yes.
opening up to those people so that they can also feel comfortable opening up to you. So I think that that's kind of how I'm interpreting what you're saying, Mike, is that it's just like a being vulnerable, you know.
Hmm.
That's absolutely true. I agree with you, and I'm glad that you said that because I feel like it's especially important in the military, especially when you're talking about senior subordinate type relationships. And, of course, I could say this would apply to, just what we call civilian organization as well. So non military. But in the military, I mean, you have people ranging from, 17 probably to 60 something years old. And, sometimes it's people's first job. Sometimes they don't even really know how to do it. They just signed up for it because they only had four options after they took their test, and they need constant affirmation. And if they don't have a leader who shows some sort of empathy or vulnerability to feed, and feed them and affirm them and to motivate them and empower them, then they may have a lot of negative self-talk. And especially if they're not the type who know how, like we talked about before, combat their negative self-talk with positive affirmations or just positive thinking. So absolutely, you have to affirm the others around you, whether you're doing it at home. Shamar, I know you definitely, I see all of you really talk about your spouse on your Facebook page. Megan, you don't have a spouse, so
Yeah.
I just want to put it out there because I don't want people to
Yeah.
be thinking, oh man, that girl has a spouse.
No ring.
There goes my chance. There goes my chance. So no, guys, you still have a chance. Megan does not yet have one, but you better be worthy, okay?
Oh my God, you made me laugh too hard. Okay.
But even with
Oh,
children, right?
right.
Like you have to affirm your kids. So, Megan, I know you don't yet have children, but if you have a pet, right? Don't you have a dog?
No, I just seem like I would. I seem like I would. No, 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 no,
You
no.
oh okay.
But
Okay. I thought
but
you had one. I think you
do
may have been the only
do we
person
do we
in the
validate
office
our
who said it.
dogs? I don't know. Maybe
You
maybe.
gotta validate your dog.
Of
Yeah,
course.
I know you, Megan. I know you used to validate those cats that you used to visit with them.
Yes, definitely, definitely. You're so cute. You're so sweet. Yeah, definitely. I
Ex-
do. I do. Yeah.
And Shamar and Mike, how is that like with your children? Like, using positive affirmations with them.
For me, you can just see it, the whole mood changes. A simple
Right.
compliment. Hey, good job today. I see you putting in work. I'm proud of you. I love you. These things are words, but they carry so much weight in here and in here. So it's it's priceless. It's priceless. It really is. It's powerful.
I agree.
Yeah, I do the so it's almost like you're promoting positive self-perception, right?
Yes.
I like that.
And I do that with my dog, right? Think about how you train a dog, right? When the dog does something good, it's looking for an affirmation, like, oh, good girl, go good boy, whatever the dog is, right? Um, and in some cases, the child is just like that. And if you can promote a positive self-perception, right, it makes that connection with them like they're able to communicate. So my kids are able to communicate better and more openly and assertive
Yes.
and empathetic, so that they're not afraid, right? They get that self-promotion. They get my energy, it transfers to them, and it's like, oh, I'm confident in expressing my thoughts and
Mhm.
feelings. And it's a booster. It's just a boost for them.
And I think it's incredibly important that we feed our kids, or any kids really
Right.
around us, with positive affirmations. I mean, when we were growing up, we didn't really have access to a lot of things that they do, and thus we didn't really compare ourselves a lot. I mean, we didn't really have too much of a false sense of what beauty was. I mean, most of
Hmm.
the beauty that we saw was very natural growing up.
Mm.
Um, but everything seems so out of reach, and kids these days, they're comparing themselves to what they see on the internet, and we know it's not realistic. Everything
Absolutely.
can be filtered, everything
Absolutely.
can be photoshopped. And so when they go to school, they have to deal with bullies. um you know they may not have a lot of friends, they may not be the most popular, they may not be the smartest, and so they feel that that they don't want to really be um, too extroverted, because they don't want to bring attention to themselves. So it is important that we feed them with like lots of affirmations, and like you said, Mike, so that they can have a positive self identity, because it really, and I think Shamar kind of said this, is it kind of has to start with you, right? Because
Yes.
if it starts with you, if you can build that confidence within yourself, or your parent, or your spouse, or your friends can help you build that confidence within yourself, it's going to be very, very hard for a stranger to break it down.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It has
And
to come from someone that you're close with and that you love.
exactly,
It doesn't mean the same if like an acquaintance says something really sweet. You're like, okay, but you don't really know me like that. But if your parent says it, or, a very close friend, it's very touching, I would say.
exactly,
And it
because
means
they
something when it's consistent. It's not just a one
Yes.
time thing, it's
Yes.
constant reinforcement.
absolutely, you got to be consistent with it. And the more consistent you are, the more that it does become part of their identity. They start to believe it. And when someone else tells them something to the contrary, they might be like, okay, that person's just a hater, and they know
Right.
that, they don't have to hold much weight to what that person is saying, because, I'm confident, I know me, their words don't matter. And that's really, I think we all need to, just be affirmed a little bit more from our relationships, and for ourselves, so that we don't have so many issues that we have. I mean, you see people now, they're committing suicide, or maybe even
Yeah.
homicide, or these mass murders or whatever, because they may, and this probably, I'm sure this is not the only reason, but to add to the list of reasons why people do these things,
Um,
I would say probably a lack of affirmations. And affirmations is just really a way to show love, whether you're doing it to yourself or to someone else.
100%. I agree.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about it from the sense of just like in the organization. And we kind of hit it a little bit, but what do you all think are some ways to where we can integrate affirmations into organizational cultures effectively, so that we can, promote a better cultural environment within the organization? And
Oh
anybody can
man.
just chill out.
That was a mouthful. That was a
Yeah.
Yeah, that
mouthful.
was. That was.
Okay, so I'll ask
Mm.
it a little more simple.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, we want to have a more positive culture in our organizations, and we talked
Hmm.
about how a little bit earlier how you can affirm the people that you work with, whether they are your colleagues or your subordinates. I mean, really, you can affirm your supervisors, because they're not always very confident either.
Hmm.
So how do we integrate that? What are some of the best practices? Do we just do it in conversation? Do we make it more deliberate? What about like what do they call that? Like the counseling process, and then what do they call them when you get your rating? I can't think of the word right now, but
Your
that
evaluations.
your evaluation process.
Yeah.
So
So before it even gets there, it's a matter of you sitting down, having an eye to eye, heart to heart conversation with somebody. That's just what I believe. And then how you treat that person when it's just you two versus how you treat them when they're amongst the public, I think it should be the same. So if having a good time with me and treating me what I feel is right when it's one on one, but when other people come around, you treat me like I'm not even a member of the team, that
Right.
comes off as ingenuine. You know what I mean? And
yes,
you're not going to build trust that way. So
yes,
it means something to kind of talk to somebody the same way you talk to them one on one. You show that compassion when other people are around. That's how they know whether you're genuine or not.
yeah. And I would add to that honesty too.
Yeah,
So you can't be the type of person who, like you said, even behind closed doors, you want to, pump me up and motivate me and act like you're such a good leader. Especially when you're talking to me about maybe the areas where I may fall short in or I may be a little flawed. And then when you go out to the general population, your peers or other seniors, then you talk crap about the
yeah,
same exact things you were just talking about, to me in a more positive way. And I do see that in a lot of organizations where, when people do find out about that stuff, those fake positive affirmations that you gave them behind closed doors, it doesn't matter. So
yeah,
there's really no way that you really can kind of change it, going forward. And then the culture of the organization becomes really more like a toxic one where people don't trust one
Yep.
another.
yeah,
And I think the theme for you, Shamar, and I agree, is consistency. You got to be consistent, whether it's
Yeah.
just one on one or in a big public setting. You have to be who you are in every situation, not just us, but obviously everyone in the organization. I think, yeah, you just have to be, in order to be genuine, you do have to be consistent because how you do something is how you do everything.
yep,
Yes. And I would say consistency also should mean that you can't, affirm one person and then this other person
Right.
doesn't get it. Like,
yep,
I feel like
Favoritism.
yeah,
Hmm.
favoritism. A lot of leaders make the mistake of showing favoritism. So they're publicly affirming this one person over and over, and then the other people are being overlooked.
yep,
And normally, the person who's getting publicly affirmed over and over isn't even the hardest worker. They're just like maybe the most extroverted or the most friendly, right?
yep,
And then those other ones, they're the quiet professionals, as we say. They're not really getting that because they're sitting there, doing their thing. And you have to be consistent with it, being that if you're going to, you know, pump up one person, you have to pump up every single person in their own way. You got to give them each person individually what they need,
Right.
but everybody needs to know that you are consistent in that way.
You know what? Even Jessica, when you left the organization that we worked at together, you gave everybody affirmations. I do remember that, and they weren't the same person to person,
They
but you
weren't the
did
same.
do that, which I think was meaningful for everybody,
Yes.
regardless of how well they knew you. I think it was a great consistent gesture, and we all still remember that. I think we've all still got the affirmations too. So
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. You can't show favoritism. I mean, even as someone who may be in a supervisor position, you may not mesh well with every single person that
right.
you supervise. But that does not mean that you can treat them any different than your, superstar or than, your secret favorite. You just can't because it's unprofessional and everyone will notice.
Absolutely.
I mean, so yeah.
I mean, when it comes
So,
down to it,
oh yeah, go ahead,
when it
Michael.
comes down to it, with the what we're talking about is developing organizational culture. I think in layman terms, just be a good human being to one another. Just being an honest broker
Yeah.
and just be nice to everyone, right? Respect everyone because when it comes down to it, you're not going to change people's views, what their beliefs, how they grew up. That's their personal beliefs. You're not
Yeah.
going to change their minds. You're not going to change who they are. But when it comes to an organizational culture, I think if no matter what your beliefs, what your backgrounds, how you was raised, if you are just a good human being and transfer that energy to everyone within your organization and everybody's giving it back, imagine what type of culture you're creating
Yes.
then.
Yep.
Yes.
Better to rule with love than fear, you know? And what's
Yep.
that saying? It's like you catch more flies with honey, something like that
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
comes to mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So I have a question. How early in your life do you all remember, sort of experiencing affirmations? Hey, Tammy.
That's a good question.
Did you guys kind of get this as a child? You don't
Yeah,
have to
that's
throw your parents
yeah.
under the bus or anything.
I mean,
But
I could talk about it. No, I did not get this
Yeah.
as a child.
I
As
didn't either.
yeah.
I was a child in New
I was
York. Um, you
I
know,
was a child in New York, period.
as a child in New York, I'm just happy to be alive right now. Um, I grew up in the
Yeah.
'80s. I'm a Gen X. You know, uh, you know, but no, I guess I didn't get that. I got it in different ways, right? What affirmations are now. Um, I got that from my mom. I got that from my dad. I got that from my fam. We grew up different,
Right.
right?
Right.
And that wasn't the focus back then. Back then
It was
we were
survival.
trying to make it was survival. We were just trying to
Exactly.
Yeah.
make sure that at 10 o'clock at night, right, Shamar, your child was not out in the street. You was
right.
home at
Do you
that
remember? You
10
guys
o'clock
remember
news.
The
when they
commercial.
said
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's 10 o'clock? Do
the
you remember where
commercial.
your children are? Do you know where your
Do you
children
Yeah.
remember your
are?
children,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
That was the main goal. And as long as my face wasn't on a milk carton, hey, my mom was doing her job, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. No, I would definitely say I didn't really get it in this new way or this more deliberate way um because it was really also about discipline. They wanted you to be disciplined. They
Yes.
wanted you to be wise. And sometimes that made for kind of just like a little bit of more tough love, right?
Right.
mhm,
Right.
Instead of like, I feel like affirmations are more like soft love, like,
Yeah.
which is what we're all doing now, with our kids. We're trying to do that because we're, I don't know, they just have a lot more emotional and mental problems these days. So we're kind of just, riding
Right.
society. They really
Right.
do. I mean, we kind of give them what they needed, right? But I mean, I would definitely say, my family like pumped me up and stuff like that, but it wasn't, I don't think it was deliberate. I don't think it was every single day. I don't think it was like, putting your backpack on your kid and being like, you got this, you can do this, you're capable,
mhm,
of getting that A. I mean, it definitely wasn't the opposite, but it just wasn't, as like cookie cutter as,
Yeah.
what we're talking about. It was like,
Yeah.
hey, go to school, do your work, do a good job, get good grades, don't get in trouble, don't have me come up to that school. When you go outside to play, when the light come on, you better have your butt in the house. You better
mhm.
have your stuff ready for school so you don't miss the bus. I love you. Good night.
Yeah,
Yes. All of that.
that's
I had a lot of
all
love
that,
from my parents,
all that.
Yep.
but it was,
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
Like I didn't lack love.
Totally agree.
Yeah,
Totally
it
agree.
wasn't like a lot
Yeah.
of affirmations.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, hey, wake up, time to go to school. You can do this. You got this. You're capable. You're smart. I love, like, okay, come to breakfast. You're a big boy. I mean, like
Yeah.
every single, and
Yeah.
it's a healthy balance. Like we don't want to overload people with affirmations because they don't have meaning, right? They won't have too many meanings if they're overloaded. They won't have meaning if they really don't apply. They
Right.
don't have meaning if you don't believe them, the person on the receiving end. So yeah. No, it's funny. It's
It
funny.
is a balance. I do agree. I
It's
think
a
it's a
balance.
balance.
It's a
Yeah.
balance.
Absolutely.
Yes. And I think that it really makes a difference. Like if we just go back to, let's just talk about in a relationship. Um Affirmations really make a huge difference. It's hard being in a relationship because you're already probably balancing something else, right? You're probably balancing a job. You're probably balancing being a parent. You might have certain types of relationships with your family that you're dealing with. And
Hmm.
then you got to put a relationship on top of that. And how do you affirm the person that you're with who's dealing with all of this other stuff in their life.
Right.
Like Mike, how do you affirm your wife?
Oh my
Well, house
God.
first.
Oh man,
Yeah,
that is
Shimon.
a
Yeah.
great
So
question.
Yeah.
yeah. So my wife is retired. She has two businesses. One is on Etsy. The other she does with craft shows and woodworking and so on. Um,
Let's just real quick shout them out. I know one is Mama of Four Decor.
yeah, Mama for Decor is on Etsy. And that's the woodworking, but she has the shop and she does that mainly for craft shows and everything else. And then it's New Threads Embroidery where
Yeah,
she does more of the showing, the embroidery, family vacation stuff, items, and that's on Etsy as well.
love it. Okay, I'm all for shouting your stuff out. Okay, self
But
promotion.
it's meaningful, right? It's not always um it's it's not always verbal, right? You can have nonverbal affirmations.
Such a good
Maybe
point.
it's simply
Yes.
maybe it's simply just put a gentle pat on the back, or you know just giving them a kiss before you leave for the day. Recognizing that you know to, the present is not always, or the next day, the future is not always guaranteed. Um, when I walk out that door, I hope to come back, but that's not guaranteed, right?
Right.
So sometimes it's for me in my situation with the four kids, the dog, and everything else. Girl, we're just happy to get through each day together,
Yeah,
Right.
that's
honestly.
sweet.
I love that. How
Um,
about you, Shimon?
Well, I'll be real with y'all. I wouldn't be the man I am without my wife. She's originally from Queens. We go back a long ways. She
Okay.
has built me up in so many different ways. So I let her know, listen, I will move mountains for you because you've done so much for me, so much for this family. And I genuinely believe if she puts her mind to something, there's nothing that woman can't do. So
Amazing.
it starts with words, but it's also, like we've all been saying, consistent action, letting her know, listen, I got you. You've been having me my back this whole time. I got you. The two of us is almost nothing we can't do. If you really believe that and you're consistent in saying it, you start to really believe it. And so when we believe it, again, there's nothing we can't do. So
100%.
that one's been by my side since I was a little kid. You know what I mean? So
Wow, that's amazing. How
yeah,
young? Now that we're talking
man,
about
I
that.
met her when I was
Oh
nine
my
years old.
God.
Yeah, we've known each other a
Wow.
long time.
wow.
That's my heart.
Wow.
Y'all don't get me
That is
That's
emotional out
very
here.
sweet.
This ain't about me, cause
incredible,
y'all gonna get me
Shimon.
emotional up here.
That's
But yeah,
9? Jeez.
amazing.
she's the real deal.
That is amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
So Megan, in a relationship, how do you like to be affirmed?
I can answer that. I can also answer what it's like being single and having to affirm myself, but I can answer that
Do
too.
it. Answer both.
Yeah. So to answer your question, how do I like to be affirmed? I mean, I think what Shamar said was like, wow, like that resonated with me. I got you. That's exactly, I think the mentality of like a man that I would want. I would want to just feel that sense of security with someone and just knowing that like
Mhm.
we can do anything together. Like that, like when you said that, I was like, I gotta add that to my list of things, okay? Because that was
And
good.
don't
That
make
was
that
good.
list too long, Megan. Okay,
Right,
you're
right.
gonna
I
have
know.
two
No,
guys
true,
in the
true, true.
population, and one's gonna be 4'8".
So, and then, as a single person right now, there are a lot of affirmations I have to give myself because dating is, it's a lot of trial and error. And so I think that going through that dating process where, you're meeting great people and it's just not your fit and it can be very frustrating. I think that I find myself having to come to those affirmations a lot, right? Of like, you know what, I am worthy of the love that I know I deserve. So I think that that comes to play again and again. So like right now, it's definitely a lot of self affirmations, but all good things, all good things. And I got me, for now. So
I like that. I like basically sort of what all three of you said, right? So where Mike is like, it's not just verbal. My
right.
husband's kind of like that too. I'm more extroverted And my husband, if you've ever met him, I know Mike has. Megan, you met my husband? I feel like
No, I have
you
not. No.
seen him. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I brought him around.
The
But
best.
he's more like introverted, and so he says stuff, but he's more of an action based person. So every day I know that he got me, like Shamar
Right.
said, I know that he loves me, because of his actions. It's the nonverbal stuff. It's the putting his heavy sweaty leg on top of me in the bed when we sleep. Like how normally it's like the girl who throws her leg over. Apparently my husband tried to go thick leg on him, so he tried to beat me to it. But it affirms the fact that he really appreciates having my company there, and he wants to keep me close. And he has a right to the security as well,
Right,
and so
right,
that's what
right.
he does.
It
And
goes both
so
ways.
yeah, it goes both ways. And
Mm-hmm.
it's funny because sometimes I slide my leg off and throw it on top, and then he'll push it off and throw it. I mean, it's actually quite hilarious, really. But it's all that nonverbal stuff. And then another way that he affirms me is just he calls me babe. Like, it's babe. That's my name. My name. Like, if he calls me Jessica, like, we about to
You're in
fight.
trouble. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm like, first of
Not the
all, why are
government
you
Yeah,
calling
name.
me by my
Yeah.
yeah,
name? And second of all, it's normally because I done messed up. I'm like, oh, child. So,
Yeah, yeah.
just like little terms of endearment. And, the way that I affirm him is kind of the same. Like, earlier today when he got up, he was standing at the window looking out. I just rubbed his back. I didn't have to say anything, but
Yes.
it was an affirmation. And so I really do think that, especially if you're in a relationship, you definitely need to be affirming your partner, because if you're not, then you're leaving them with a lot of
Yes.
questions, right? And they
Hmm.
might seek answers somewhere else.
But like you said, Jessica, it is a balance, right? Of like, you can't be the only thing affirming them. Like, they also have to have that
Yes.
internal affirmation,
Yes.
because I think we've all been there where someone's like a little too needy. They need everything from you, and you just can't do that. So
Yes.
I think it's being able to find that balance of being able
Hmm.
to give it to yourself, but also knowing that you can lean on that person for that as well.
Yes. And I'm with Shamar when he talked about, in order for you to kind of
Hmm.
fill up other people's cups, your cup has to, be full as well.
Right,
Or,
right.
at least my cup has to be at least half full for me to give you some. Because if my cup's empty, I can't
I
give
have
you
nothing to
anything.
give. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. And the affirmations, of course, have to go both ways, and it can't just be, in a relationship, the man, constantly being the one to affirm the woman, and she receiving all the goods from that. But ladies, we gotta affirm our men as
Yeah.
well, or from your ladies, whatever you like. Not trying to, not trying
I mean,
to,
I guess
Don't get canceled here. Yeah, we're
yeah, I
not
don't
going
want
to
to
be too
get canceled.
heteronormative.
No, I am all for
no,
whatever. Yeah,
but
affirm your
it's a, it's,
partner, basically.
I mean, Shimon and Jess, like you could probably agree. And I've been in other relationships. I've been married previously. Um, and you realize when you're with that right person, it's a you're always calibrating, right? Where you
Mm,
just know and your partner knows when you can give and where they gotta give. And
Yep.
right,
it's
right, right.
natural. Like you don't have to say anything. You could just you feel it, you hear it, you smell it. It's
Yes.
like part of all five of your senses when you got that partner. And it's like,
It's a
hey, I
dance.
I
It
feel, yeah,
is.
it's a
Yeah.
dance. And it's like, okay, I feel you. You know what? Here, tag tag out, go take a half hour or go outside,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yep.
And or hey, I got dinner. Don't worry. Don't worry about cooking. We'll get something out. It's just you just get that feeling because you're so in tune with that other person.
Right. Right.
And to me that's a shared affirmation because you're sharing each other, right? And it's so natural and it's so peaceful that it's your true self, and you gotta just and when you have that, you just hold on to it and never let it go. And and if it's always there, you ain't searching nowhere else.
Right. Right. Right.
Exactly. No, I
That's right.
absolutely agree. People, I mean, if you're hungry, you're going to go seek food, right? If you're
Yep.
thirsty,
Hmm.
you're going to go seek water. So, you know, it's obvious. We all have needs, and we will seek them out if, we
Right.
if we feel a hunger. Okay.
Absolutely. Yep.
But yeah, so before we close out, I just wanted to, give each of you the opportunity to just really give any, parting words or suggestions to anyone who may be struggling with affirmations in any way. Maybe they don't know how to give it to themselves. Maybe they don't know how to believe it. Maybe they just have too much negative self-talk. They don't know how to, kind of win with the positivity. Or they don't know how to do it. They don't have like a good process of doing it. So I'll start with you, Megan. Like, what would
Sure.
you say to people who are kind of struggling and who really want to know how to incorporate affirmations into their daily lives?
I mean, I think that, this is not a journey you can go through alone. I think that, of course I love myself and I affirm myself all the time, but I definitely do, lean on my family and friends to also give me that too. So, I mean, yes, of course it's very important to be able to give that to yourself, but I think also having a network of people that also can radiate that positivity and those affirmations is super important. You are who you surround yourself with. So you have to surround yourself with people who are positive. And not every day is going to be positive. I've gone through like so many tumultuous periods in my life where like I did not ever think that I would get to this point where I'm feeling like truly like in a good place, like positive. And it's, there's always going to be ups and downs in life, but I think just, yeah, being able to like come to, that recognition, like, and it's not easy, but just being able to like look around and be grateful for the things that you do have, the places that you will go. And just being able to ground yourself in that knowledge. And if you don't have it now, just knowing that like it is destined for you, like it will come. I think just, and if you don't believe that, just fake it till you make it. You know what I mean? Just keep telling yourself like great things will happen. I think having a sense of faith is very important. So that's as
Absolutely.
best I can offer.
No, that was awesome. You offered a lot.
Thank you.
That was great. I got like pumped up. I think I'm in a good place too, but I mean, I'm a little more positive from that for sure, honestly. What about you, Mike?
Um, God, I got a couple of different things that I would love to share. And I think one is if you don't know yourself, right, go search. Find yourself first. Once you know yourself, then I'll take something out of Deion Sanders' book. I'm almost done reading it, and I'm a big Coach Prime fan in sports and everything. So, and he's all about positivity. I mean, and everything that he does, and he put something out in his book called the Three W's, right? And if you got to know who you are. Once you know who you are, you got to want it. Whatever it is, you got to want it. Um, and then when you know what you want, now you got to work for it because ain't nothing free.
I love
You got to work for it. And if you're willing to work for it, then you're going to win it. And those are the three W's, right? You live by
There are a
those
lot
three
of W's.
W's.
that. No, because who wants
Yeah,
work willing?
Yeah.
yeah,
That was
Win.
that
Win.
was a lot of W's.
yeah.
No, but
Well,
that's
well,
awesome.
that's all Coach Prime does is use W's because he's always winning. Everything
That's
you
right.
do, no matter what, no matter how much bad is going on around you, right? You know, I may have a bad moment, but I
Right.
try not to
That
have a
doesn't
bad day.
define me. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm not gonna have a bad day. You ain't gonna mess up my day. So
Yep.
many people talk about, you're gonna let 10 seconds ruin
Right.
the rest of the day. Like,
Yeah.
don't
I mean,
allow
or one
people.
bad day can't equal, one bad life. It's not
Exactly.
like it's gonna
So
ebb.
don't give people and don't give people that much power over you,
Absolutely.
right? Like,
That's
don't
key.
give people that power that whatever they're doing to you, against you, changes
Yep.
who you are, what you want,
Absolutely.
and what you're willing to work for, and just win it. Don't give them that power and that positivity, that affirmation. Like, you don't have any power over me. That's another one,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I love that. And there's a lot of people that actually needed you to say that, because there's a lot of people in different relationships, whether it's,
Hmm.
actual, like, spouse, significant other type relationships, but also in work relationships where,
Mm-hmm.
they needed to hear that. It's like, you have the power. No one else has the power over you. I mean, ultimately, there is someone, depending on your faith, but on this earth walking, your power is your power.
Mm-hmm.
Shamar, what about you?
Mm. Mike and Megan said it all. I'm a big Coach Prime fan too, so that's my guy. Megan said it earlier. You can't go through life alone, and you gotta find somebody to be vulnerable with. And I'll talk about men specifically because I think as a whole we're bad at this. You gotta find somebody you can lean on, talk things through with, because that'll help build up your spirit. So, um, I've been around, aunts and, females my whole life. I've seen kind of some of the things that they go through. As men, we got to do a better job of sharing our thoughts and emotions with each other because we go through the same thing. We just don't talk about it amongst one another. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say if there's men out there watching this, find somebody you could be vulnerable with. It only got to be one person. It doesn't have to
Love
be
that.
only one person, but you got to find at least one person you can be vulnerable with. Share your thoughts, your ideas, your emotions with that person. Watch what that does for you.
I love that, Shamar, because I mean, men have traditionally
Yes.
kind of been steered away from vulnerability.
Yep.
I mean, that their sexuality has been questioned,
Yep.
based on their
Closeness with other men.
closeness with other people
Yep.
and their
Hmm.
vulnerability or their display of vulnerability. Um, but yes, I agree. If you can't do anything else, just find that one person. And if your mom is that one person, you got to find it too, because your girlfriend and your wife ain't gonna like it.
Mom.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's okay, moms. It's okay, but
Yeah.
if you can't just only be vulnerable with your mama if you're in a relationship, because chances are that's gonna pose some serious issues as well.
You're not wrong.
That is so true. I've seen that way too many times.
Yeah.
But no, I appreciate you guys. So as we draw close to the end of our discussion, it is clear that affirmations are not just mere words, but powerful tools that shape our thoughts, actions, and relationships. We've
Definitely.
explored the diverse perspectives of our esteemed panelists. Thank you, Mike, Shamar, and Megan, on the role of affirmations in personal and professional growth. From defining affirmations as the cornerstone of mindset shaping to sharing personal anecdotes of triumph over adversity, we've witnessed the transformative impact of positive affirmations firsthand. Our guests have emphasized the importance of incorporating affirmations into our daily routines, especially during challenging times, as a means of fostering resilience and self belief. Moreover, we've learned how affirmations extend beyond individual development to enrich communication, strengthen relationships, and even shape organizational culture. By fostering a culture of positivity and empowerment, affirmations have the potential to inspire greatness in ourselves and those around us. So, as we reflect on our conversation, it's evident that while there may not be a one size fits all approach to affirmations, their effectiveness lies in their ability to resonate with our unique personalities and circumstances. Whether through simple daily mantras or tailored affirmations for specific goals, the key lies in their authenticity and, as Shamar said so many times, consistency.
Saw
That's
that
right.
coming. Saw that coming. Yeah.
So I just want to thank you three again. And we hope that today's discussion has provided valuable insights and practical strategies for integrating affirmations into your own life and your organizations. Remember, the power of positive affirmations lies within each of us. It's waiting to be harnessed for personal growth and collective success. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Shamar,
Yes.
Megan, Mike, I know you guys are sleepy. You got off work today. You probably woke up early, except for Megan. She woke up 15 minutes before she had to catch her
You know that's right.
but I appreciate you all, and definitely please, if you're looking for affirmation items or blog posts or just some daily affirmations to pump yourself up, you can check us out at idoaffirm on Instagram or Facebook or www.idoaffirm.com. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank
And take
you.
care. You are worthy. You are important. You are loved. You are special. You are confident. You are capable. Everything. You are
That's
everything.
right.
Bye, guys. Thank you so
Appreciate
Bye.
much.
y'all.
Thank you.